Hi friends, Pastor Terry here. We are Okotoks Alliance Church, and these are Thursday Thoughts. I had to come upstairs to find a space that was available to me. We've got a funeral on Saturday that we're hosting for a family in our community. They're kind of checking out the sanctuary right now. We've been hosting Edison School for the last couple of months as they're in renovations. Very glad to be doing that. They had hosted us when we were in transition ourselves, so super glad that we could return that wonderful favor. And so yeah, I'm in my old office, 201 upstairs. Most of you wouldn't necessarily remember when our offices were up at this end of the building, but it wasn't actually that long ago. Seems like forever. Hope you're doing well. I hope your week is off to a good start. It's a cold day outside, or it looks cold. It's kind of, well, maybe it's only 2:30, so can't be getting dark yet, can it? We're not that close to the North Pole. Did you take in the service? Were you part of the service this past Sunday? It was our Global Celebration Sunday. If you haven't, I would just commend that to you as we attempted to look around the world. What is God doing around the world? And Dr. Miriam Charter was with us, and she brought a wonderful encouragement to us to be looking and considering what God would be calling us to, in particular, what would he be calling the next generation to. And the easy places have been reached. The hard places are those that are before us, where the gospel needs to go. It was a good weekend, and I would really encourage you to investigate that, go in and experience that service online if you have not already done so. This Sunday, we're coming back to the series that we've been in. We are looking again at the letters that the Apostle John wrote. And in particular, we're going to go into the second letter, or we refer to it that way, 2 John. I'll make passing reference to 3 John. And then next week, we're into Advent. It's the beginning of the Christmas season. Interesting here is that 2 John, there's a sense in which he is repeating some of the things that are said in 1 John, and I'll talk a little bit about some of the theories behind how 2nd and 3rd John relate to 1 John. We really don't know for sure. Was 2 John an introduction to 1 John? 1 John, we've talked about this, it was kind of an essay. It isn't technically a letter. It doesn't start with, dear so-and-so, and doesn't end up with, God bless you all. Sincerely John. But 2nd and 3rd John do have those letter format kinds of introduction and ending. 3rd John is actually a personal letter that was sent by John to a church leader, probably one of the house churches out in the Asia Minor region, modern day Turkey. And he's desiring to encourage that leader, coach that leader concerning some ministry things that are of concern to John. If those concerns relate to what he wrote in 1 John, well, that all kind of makes sense. 2 John, is it a summary letter that was sent after 1 John to kind of just in précis form remind them of what was said? Because there's a lot of repeat in it, but not nearly as much detail. Or was it a letter that actually preceded the writing of 1 John and went out with the promise of a visit that maybe didn't happen? John was a very old man at this point, so he had to send the essay instead. Is that what happened? Or some have suggested, what if 1 John and 2 John actually go together? 2 John's the introduction to 1 John, but only used when John wasn't there. So John in Ephesus, delivering the content of his essay, 1 John, to the church in Ephesus. But when it's out at Smyrna or Thyatira or one of these other communities where churches were being established, well, then 2 John becomes kind of the dear friends, love you all greatly. In fact, this letter is from John the Elder, is how 2 John begins. I am writing to the chosen lady and her children. These terms of endearment that John has been using in 1 John show up here very clearly in 2 John. He uses similar kind of language in the beginning of 3 John. And then at the close of 2 John, he says, greetings from the children of your sister chosen by God. So in other words, your sister, the sister church that he was at in Ephesus, who sends greetings along with you. Now, about the essay. Here's some more detail on the things that I'm writing. Here's just a question for the chat. If you don't mind throwing a question or your answer in, how do you feel about the repetition that is there? And, so here we are, several weeks in 1 John. Now we're going to come back and we're going to repeat some of the content that we've been in. Personally, I find I'm surprised at how little I retain sometimes. Do you find it difficult to retain? Do you come back to things that, oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's my experience. And so there's a sense in which we repeat some of that. There's a sense in which maybe it kind of distills it down to that which is really fundamental, that which is most important. We're going to make reference to, I guess, 3 themes that John has been addressing, and he brings them in short here in 2 John. The theme of truth, what does it mean for us to walk in the way of truth? The theme of love, how do we love one another while we're walking in the way of truth? And then thirdly, conflict. How do we navigate conflict if and when we find ourselves in conflict with others who are walking on the way of truth? And we get this wrong often in our society and even in the church. And maybe we have to say, and historically in the church, we have often gotten this wrong. We divide over the wrong things. We find it difficult to agree to disagree. What are the things where it's okay to agree to disagree on? And what are the things that actually we can't compromise on this point? We're living in a society that is in upheaval over questions like this. I'll tell you the story on Sunday about touring when I was much younger in Ontario with a band that I was a part of. And we were a very diverse crowd of people, and yet we were gathered around 2 things. We loved Jesus and we loved music. And so we brought encouragement to all kinds of different churches through that diversity. I'll tell you a little bit more about that on Sunday. John wants you to know that Jesus loves you and wants to remind you to walk in the truth of who Jesus is and allow that to change how you walk here and now, how you face life and death, and how you will face or enter eternity. This is what John is absolutely concerned that you and I would get a hold of. I'm picking up his concern for you. My desire is that you would know Jesus and walk with Jesus and allow the likeness of Jesus to increasingly be present in your life. That's where we're going to go this coming Sunday at Okotoks Alliance Church. Our live stream will be up at 9:50 a.m. Mountain Time. The service begins at 10 a.m. And if you can be with us in person, that would be fabulous. We are working with masks and distancing, and our capacity is at least about 110 people. That's 1/3 of our fire code capacity. Actually, it's less than 1/3 of our fire code capacity. Our kids zone is open. We would ask that you pre-register. It super helps us, but don't let that be a barrier to being with us. Our kids zone team are super excited to be welcoming our children again and teaching and instructing and encouraging them, and looking forward to celebrating Christmas with them in the ways that are so wonderful. So thank you for being with me here. I am Pastor Terry Lee. We are Okotoks Alliance Church, and these have been Thursday Thoughts. Bless you. Looking forward to seeing you on Sunday. Bye for now.